Christina Universe Citizen presents New Era Eligion, Episode 31, April 16, 2022. No Longer Stultified. The smallest omnisymmetrical structural system in universe is the tetrahedron. It is also the minimum thinkable set, the basic unit of measure, one volumetric quantum of energy. This volumetric quantum is the basic unit for metaphysical intellects, consciousness, evolution, system awareness. Awareness of this prime system, which requires systemic thought's omnirational transformation environment, can permit humans of a mind, our evolution species, to acknowledge inherent competence to build omnisymmetrical systems of universe. Logically, this inherent ability by general design science appeals to anticipatory devotion not only to manifesting a referentially replicating true democracy on Earth, but also to reduce the tolerance magnitudes of the residual inaccuracies of the reenacting articulations and observations. This means that nuclear sphere of radius 1 is essential to a mind's metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of thought in order to conceive of and imagine reverse magnitudes of the surface, that's superficial, and the volume of the volumetric hierarchy. Naturally, then, if the omnisymmetrical tetrahedron is the smallest system in universe, it must be in reverse order with the largest space quantum, as consciousness evolution considers surface to volume and volume to surface, commencing with synergetics awareness of system totality. Awareness of system totality and systemic thought implies the universe of it is designed in generalized principle. If so, this may be specifically for the searching mind's coded intelligence integrally to its curiosity to find the most comprehensively sustaining regenerative self-assurance. The self-assurance is in respect to realizing the purpose of existence, which well may be to build, to compose, to construct, to devise, to innovate the most economical, interrelating, non-contradictory elements, commencing with awareness of the whole, WHOLE, minimum structural system of universe as the abstract integrity. The moment-to-moment, action-reaction resultant local environment consequently would not be contradictory to the most economical way of behaving relative to unity and self in universe. With a nuclear sphere, surface to volume and volume to surface, reverse magnitude, hierarchical sequence, metaphysical intellect, as a function of omnirational universe, is naturally satisfied to have found the missing conceptioning potential. It is where with everyone synergetically informed consciousness evolution can refer its individual economic initiative to the nuclear sphere. Self-assurance here not only means that everyone literally and technically can be on the same page, so that our individual economic initiatives would be aware of relatively few polyhedra. It would be as the topological geometrical inventory of relevant systems and degrees of freedom can be consciously integrated throughout the universal communications process. The degrees of freedom, to put it another way, well may be integrals of the design coding of humanly conceived living environments, correlating to survival and compatibility, where everything comes out rationally. It can only come out rationally when every degree of freedom is relevant to the anticipatory design science realizations. You would have to know all aspects of the nuclear sphere's geometry correlating to awareness of the domain of each closest packed nuclear sphere. Since the hierarchy's space quantum equals the same domain, awareness to any degree of comprehension logically implies how far off the prevailing economies are that historically authorize what continues to evidence the gross imbalances of capitalism. The authorities of capitalism overlooked what eventually was explained to the smallest degrees of insight and outlook by R. Buckminster Fuller, with the reorganizing mind of E.J. Applewhite. This is, as the omnitopology and synergetics hierarchy are detailed and have been available in published books and posted online by the physicist R.W. Gray, who maintains online synergetics on his private server. Coincidentally, developing and evolving synergetics occurred in an approximation to the World Wide Web's Internet innovations. The synergetics geometric models specifically demonstrate nature's coordinate system with the potential of regenerating its network functions. Instead of popularized awareness of these quantum modules, the energetic synergetic networking as the worldwide communication system, social media platforms took off in a different direction. This seems to have occurred almost overnight without recognizing a true democracy as the grandest prize of the 21st century would require a different coordinate system. The value of the most economic, omnirational, omnitopological coordinate system exceeds any amount of money, anyone's vast fortunes, and classification as billionaires. I find it relatively strange that the more I learn of synergetics as geometric models that can be extrapolated into any realized potential of the anticipatory, experiential, experimental communication of events, mainly a true democracy, the more abhorrent vast fortunes and all those uneconomical artifacts are. Eventually, what is bought and paid for is sold, discarded, and becomes a burden, and can be compared to the freedom of unencumbered wealth. As Bucky Fuller wrote, referring to the Human Settlement, September 20, 1976, in quotes, "Energy is the essence of wealth, wealth being the organized capability to support life," end quote. The discovered principles that are operating in our universe to the extent humans use the experiences that come before us, while always taking care of lives and capabilities to protect, accommodate, to feed life, is wealth. Not being burdened by enormous sums of money, and the culminations attached to every imaginable fear-engendered obstacle frees a mind to admit what takes concentrated effort results in less self-other invalidation. Validation can register during one's innate longing to find the long-sought solutions as experienced moments of insightful satisfaction. Let's recall end quotes, expensive equal non-thinking, end quote, and, end quotes, efficient equal beautiful, end quote, which seems to have everything to do with design, and the generalized content that systemic thought can consider and reconsider. The experience satisfaction coincides with imagination's ability to conceptually formulate systemic thoughts while cogitating reliably in respect to equilibrium. It can be on behalf of the anticipated governing system that cannot repeat the gross oversights from previous regimes. That was when the people omitted by educational default the nuclear sphere as a conceptual sphere that everyone can refer their systemic thought's love of truth to with imaginable reverse magnitude hierarchy in mind. Fortunately, we can learn more about the vector equilibrium, which happens to be the maximum domain of a nucleus. And so it is logically satisfying to know that synergetics is primarily the geometry of the nucleus rather than of the geometry of chemistry. We have yet to accredit fundamental behaviors, the central behaviors that are inherently nuclear in its own right. No longer need we be stultified by imperative associations that contribute to regenerating incompetence that eventually proves to be of an unsound mind. We can learn more about nuclear and non-nuclear polyhedrons in Synergetics 415.13. Thank you for your undivided attention, if that happens to be the case, and your continued interest in this important research project, especially in regards to manifesting a true democracy.